The crash in the cold. The sky was black. Snow fell like ashes from a dead fire. A small escape pod lay half buried in the snow, smoke rising from its broken engine. The metal was hot, but the world around it was freezing. Inside, a man lay still. His name was Jake, a soldier from Earth lost in space. His eyes opened slowly. His breath came out as white mist. Pain shot through his leg. Blood. The side of his pod was torn. He tried to move but groaned in pain. He looked around. Only snow. A cold wind howled. No trees, no buildings. Just white silence. His communicator was dead. No signal. No help. No one. Jake pulled himself out of the pod. His suit was damaged. The cold hit him like knives. He stumbled, falling into the snow. "Is anyone there?" he shouted. But only the wind answered. He walked a few steps, then fell again. His hands were shaking. His face was numb. He knew what was happening. Hypothermia. He had maybe 1 hour left. Then he saw them. Footprints. Not his. Something or someone was nearby. He followed the prints with weak steps. His vision was blurry. The snow was getting heavier. His body was giving up. Then he saw her. She stood still, a few feet away. Tall, thin, glowing slightly in the snow. Her skin was pale blue, her eyes large and silver. Her hair moved like it was underwater. Not human. An alien. Jake froze. He tried to stand straight but couldn't. She walked slowly toward him, no fear in her steps. He raised his hand weakly. "Help." She looked at him with a strange calm. Then she knelt beside him. "You'll die," she said in perfect English. Her voice was soft, almost cold. "You need warmth now." Jake tried to speak but only coughed. Blood touched his lips. Without asking, she pulled his arm over her shoulder. She was surprisingly strong. She began dragging him toward a dark shape nearby, a cave hidden under the snow. Inside it was tight but warmer. A small fire glowed in the center. Jake could hardly see. Everything was spinning. She laid him near the fire, then looked at him. "Your blood is freezing," she said. "There is only one way to stop it." She opened a long, tube-shaped sleeping bag. It was made from thick alien fabric. Strange symbols glowed faintly on its side. She looked at him without emotion. "We share body heat. No other option." Jake tried to laugh, but it came out as a cough. "This is weird." "Life is weird," she said, and got in first. "Hurry." With great pain, Jake slid in behind her. It was tight. They lay back to back. No words. Only silence. Only breath. Time passed. Jake's shaking slowed. His skin felt something again. He was alive. For now. But the questions in his head were louder than the wind outside. Why was she helping him? Who was she? What was she doing on this planet? He stared at the cave ceiling. Strange drawings were painted above. Not human. Not friendly. He turned his head slightly. Her back touched his. She was warm. Not just physically. There was something else. Something human. But not. Then she spoke again. Soft. Almost to herself. "I should not have done this. They will be angry." Jake closed his eyes. "Who?" She didn't answer. He was too weak to think more. Sleep was pulling him in. Just before he lost consciousness, he heard her whisper again. Barely a breath. "But you're not like them." Darkness. The sleeping bag. The fire had died. The cold had returned. Jake woke up to silence, and a strange warmth on his back. His body felt stiff, but alive. He blinked slowly. The cave was darker now. The only light came from the glowing symbols on the sleeping bag. They pulsed gently, like a heartbeat. He could feel her breathing. The alien girl was still there, silent, still, warm. Their backs touched. No more than that. Yet he felt every second pass like a drum beat. She moved slightly. Her voice came, low and calm. "You're awake." Jake didn't answer. His mind was still trying to believe this was real. He turned his head slightly, careful not to touch her more than needed. "Where are we?" he asked. "Temporary shelter. We are not safe here." He swallowed. "Who are you?" She was quiet for a moment, then said, "I am no one important." Jake gave a tired smile. That's not an answer. Still silence. He tried to move, but his leg throbbed with pain. He gasped. She shifted closer without turning around. "Don't move much. Your blood is still too cold. You'll go into shock." "You're really good at this," Jake said, trying to joke. "You've done this before?" "No," she said softly. "Never with a human." Jake stared at the cave wall, shadows dancing from the last ember. His heart was beating too fast. They lay there, back to back. The cave was too quiet. His eyes adjusted to the dark. Then he noticed something strange. Her skin. It wasn't just blue. It glowed slightly, in patterns, like veins of light. But the glow was fading. "Are you okay?" he asked. "I used energy. To keep you alive," she said. "It will return." Jake frowned. "Energy? You mean your body heat?" "No," she replied slowly. "Something deeper." Jake opened his mouth to ask more, but then he heard it. A sound outside. Low, mechanical, faint. She heard it too. Her body stiffened. She quickly sat up and pressed her hand to the wall. A small part of the rock slid open like a door. She whispered, "Stay inside. Don't speak, don't move." Jake's heart pounded. She slid out of the bag and vanished into the darkness beyond the wall. Silence. Seconds passed, then minutes. Jake lay still. Every breath felt too loud. His mind raced. What was that sound? Why did she leave so fast? And what was that energy she gave him? The sleeping bag felt colder without her. The glowing symbols dimmed more. He looked toward the wall she had passed through. It had closed again, blending perfectly with the stone. Then he heard another sound. This time from inside the cave. A soft hum. He looked around. In the far corner, something was moving. He tried to sit up, ignoring the pain. He crawled slowly toward the sound. As he got closer, he saw something strange, a small metallic orb, floating just above the ground. It spun gently, scanning the area with a thin red light. It didn't see him yet. He froze. Then, suddenly, the wall opened again. She returned, fast, silent. She raised her hand toward the orb and a pulse of light shot from her palm. The orb dropped to the ground, lifeless. She looked at Jake, angry. "I told you not to move." "I didn't call it," Jake said, holding up his hands. "What was it?" "A scout drone," she replied, walking over and crushing the orb with her foot. "They're looking for me or for you, maybe both." "Your people?" "Your," Jake asked. She nodded once. Jake looked at the crushed metal. "Then why are you helping me?" She paused, then spoke in a cold voice. "Because I made a choice. And now, I live with it." She walked back to the sleeping bag, sat down, and began feeding small pieces of glowing stone into the fire pit. The fire lit again, blue and silent. Jake watched her. She wasn't just another alien. She was running from something, or someone. He sat back down, slowly. "You said we're not safe, so where do we go?" She looked up at him. Her silver eyes were sharp. "There's a tunnel under this cave. We'll use it when your body is ready." Jake nodded slowly, then said, "You never told me your name." Another long pause. Then, finally, "You can call me Vera." Jake smiled faintly. "That's a human name." "I studied your kind," she said simply. Names help humans feel safe. He chuckled, then winced at the pain. Is that what you're trying to do? Make me feel safe? She looked at him for a long moment, then turned back to the fire. No, she whispered. I'm trying to make sure you don't die. What happens after? I don't know. Jake looked into the fire. The cave felt colder again. Not because of the air, because of the weight in her voice. There was something she wasn't telling him, something big. But for now, all he could do was wait, rest, survive, and wonder. What happens when the only person who can save you might also be the one who was sent to kill you? Her secret mission. Jake couldn't sleep. The fire crackled softly. Vera sat across from him, legs crossed, eyes closed. She hadn't moved in hours. She didn't speak. She didn't blink. She looked like a statue, a glowing one. Jake watched her, unsure what to think. She had saved his life, but that didn't mean he could trust her. Not yet. He thought back to the drone, to the strange orb she destroyed without hesitation. Why would her own people hunt her? Or was she just pretending to be on his side? His fingers touched the edge of the sleeping bag. It was cold again. Vera had used her energy to keep him alive. That part was real. He could feel it in his body. He was healing faster than he should have. How was that possible? Vera, he said quietly. She opened her eyes instantly. Silver. No emotion. Why did you come back for me? He asked. You could have left me here. The drone didn't see you. She didn't answer right away. Then she said, I told you, I made a choice. That's not a real answer, Jake said. You don't risk your life for a stranger unless there's a reason. Vera stood up slowly. Her movement was smooth, graceful, alien. I didn't come to this planet alone, she said. There were 4 of us. Jake's eyes narrowed. Where are the others? She walked to the back of the cave and touched the wall again. A second hidden door opened, smaller, darker. Jake followed her inside, limping. They entered a narrow tunnel, lit by glowing roots along the walls. The air felt colder here. After a few steps, Vera stopped. She pointed. There were 3 body bags, sealed in a glowing, crystal-like material. Inside were tall, blue-skinned aliens. Like her. They're dead, she said simply. I buried them, here. Jake stared at them, shocked. What happened? They followed the mission, she said. I didn't. Jake stepped back, feeling the weight of her words. What was the mission? Now Vera looked directly at him. Her eyes glowed softly in the dark. We were sent to track and eliminate any surviving human soldiers from the crash. Jake felt the air freeze in his lungs. You were supposed to kill me, he said quietly. Yes. And you didn't. No. He stared at her. His heartbeat was loud in his ears. Why not? Vera looked away. I don't know. Jake stepped closer. No, you do know. Tell me the truth. Silence. Then a whisper. Because I saw your face. Jake blinked. What? She closed her eyes. You looked like someone I once knew. Someone who saved my brother during the war. Jake frowned. I didn't fight in any war. No, she said. But you wear the same symbol. Same Earth unit. Same eyes. Same fire. Jake didn't know what to say. Vera stepped closer to the crystal coffins. They told me to kill without mercy. That humans are dangerous. That you would lie. That you would trick me. She turned toward him. But you didn't. Jake looked down. He wanted to believe her. But part of him still couldn't. So now your people are hunting you? She nodded. I disobeyed. That is treason. And worse, I protected you. Jake looked at the glowing roots, the sealed bodies, the ice on the walls. So what now? He asked. We move, she said. They will send more scouts. Bigger ones. Soldiers. She turned and started walking deeper into the tunnel. Jake followed, limping but faster now. As they walked, the tunnel opened into a larger chamber. It was filled with alien technology, floating screens, glowing devices, strange weapons mounted. On the walls, Jake stopped. "What is this?" Vera answered. "Our forward station, built during the Silent War." Jake stepped inside, looking around. One screen showed a map of the planet. Red dots blinked, moving slowly. Vera pointed. "Search. Teams, 3 of them, they're closing in." Jake looked at the red dots. They weren't far. "Do you trust me now?" Vera asked, turning to him. Jake hesitated, then said, "I trust that you didn't kill me when you had the chance." She smiled faintly. "First time. I'll take that as a yes." Suddenly, an alarm blared. One of the red dots turned green, then 2, then 3. "They found our trail," she said, moving quickly. She grabbed 2 devices and handed one to Jake. It looked like a small disc. "Tracker jammer," she explained. "Put it on your chest." He did. Then she picked up a long silver weapon. It looked too light for its size. Jake picked up a smaller one. "Do I get to keep this?" "If you can shoot straight." They moved fast through a side tunnel. The light faded behind them. Jake didn't know where they were going, but he knew what they were running from. And somewhere deep inside, a question burned in his mind. If she could betray her own people to save him, could she also betray him to save herself? He didn't know the answer, and he wasn't sure he wanted to find out. Not yet. The hunters are coming. The tunnels echoed with every step they took. Jake tried to walk quietly, but his boots still scraped the floor now and then. Vera was silent. She moved like smoke, fast and without sound. Jake felt it again, that pressure in the air, like they were being watched. "How much time before they catch us?" he asked. Vera looked at the small scanner in her hand. "Minutes, maybe less." Jake's legs still ached, but the strange warmth inside him, her energy, kept the pain manageable. He pushed forward. They reached a fork in the tunnel. One path glowed slightly with blue roots. The other was dark. Vera pointed to the darkness. "This way. We need to disappear." Jake followed her into the blackness. His flashlight flickered and died. Dark, cold, quiet. Too quiet. "Why aren't they flying in?" Jake whispered. "Why use tunnels?" "They don't want anyone to know they're here," Vera said. "It's a shadow operation." Jake's voice dropped. "So, we're both ghosts now." She didn't reply. The tunnel opened suddenly into a large chamber. Jake stepped inside and stopped. His breath caught in his throat. There were pods, dozens of them, lined in a circle around the chamber. Cryopods. Each one held a human. Still, frozen, suspended. Jake walked forward slowly. His hand touched one of the glass domes. A man was inside, face pale, chest not moving. "Are they dead?" Jake whispered. "No," Vera said. "Sleeping. Long-term stasis." Jake looked around in disbelief. "These are escapees from other crashes," she explained. "Most were never rescued. My people collected them for study." Jake turned sharply. "What kind of study?" She avoided his eyes. "War makes monsters out of everyone." He stepped back. "And you were part of this?" "I didn't hurt them," she said quickly. "I argued to keep them alive." "But you kept them in cages," Jake snapped. "Like frozen animals." "I had no choice," Vera said. "I was following orders, back then." Jake shook his head. "And now?" "Now I'm breaking them." Before he could answer, a low hum echoed through the chamber. Vera spun toward the entrance. "They're here." From the tunnel behind, lights appeared, red, cold, unblinking. Vera grabbed Jake's arm. "Hide, now!" They ran behind a row of old cargo crates. Footsteps echoed in. 4 figures entered, tall, armored, and faceless. Their eyes glowed red. Their weapons made no sound. One of them raised a scanner and began sweeping the room. The scanner beeped once, then again. Louder, Closer. Jake held his breath. Vera whispered, "Stay down. Do not move." The figures stepped closer. One of them paused beside a pod. It looked at the human inside, then moved on. Jake felt sweat running down his back. Then, one of the soldiers turned sharply. It pointed its weapon toward the crates. Jake's heart froze. They knew. The soldier raised its hand. A small drone flew out. Quiet. Deadly. Vera moved faster than he'd ever seen. She jumped from cover, rolled, and fired. A flash of light exploded. The drone fell, broken. The soldiers raised their weapons and fired. Vera pulled Jake and ran. Energy. Blast hit the walls around them. A cryopod shattered. A frozen human inside began to defrost, alarms beeping. They ran into another tunnel. No time to think. No time to speak. Just run. The tunnel led to a spiral shaft. A ladder climbed high into the dark. Jake looked up. "How far?" 17 levels, she said, already climbing. Jake groaned. "You're trying to kill me." "No," she said. "I'm trying to keep you alive. Big difference." They climbed. Behind them, the tunnel lit with red light again. Voices echoed, cold, sharp, alien. Vera cursed in her language, then said, "Climb faster." Jake gritted his teeth and pushed. Halfway up, an explosion shook the shaft. Metal groaned. Dust filled the air. They reached the top and rolled into a side passage. More ruins. Ancient, abandoned. Long walls lined with alien carvings. Jake didn't recognize any of them. "What is this place?" he asked, coughing. "A city that died in silence," she said. "Yours?" "No, older." They moved again. Every corner was filled with questions. Jake looked at Vera. She was breathing hard now. Her shoulder had a burn mark. "You're hurt," he said. "It's nothing. It's something." She stopped and looked at him. Her eyes were softer now. "I didn't expect to care this much," she said. "But I do." Jake blinked. Before he could answer, the wall near them cracked open. Not from enemy fire. From inside. A hand reached out. A human hand. Jake jumped back. From the hole stepped a man. Dirty. Beard. Eyes wild. Another stepped behind him. Then two more. Humans. Survivors. They weren't in cryo. They were alive. Hiding. The first man looked at Vera with fear and rage. "You brought one of them here?" Jake stepped between them. "She saved me. She's not like the others." "She's exactly like them," the man shouted. "I saw what they did. They locked us up. They ran experiments." Vera raised her hand slowly. "I am not your enemy." "You're an alien," the man growled. "That's enough." Jake saw one of them holding a weapon. "Wait," he said. "You don't understand." The man raised the weapon. Jake turned, pushed Vera aside. Just as a shot rang out, pain exploded in his side. He hit the ground hard. Vera screamed. The last thing Jake saw before darkness was her face, angry, glowing, and full of fire. And then, silence. Betrayal. Or sacrifice. Everything was red. Pain burned through Jake's side like fire. He tried to breathe, but it was hard. His ears rang. His body was cold again. He heard shouting, footsteps, then her voice. Vera. But she didn't sound calm this time. She sounded like a storm. "Step away from him," she said, her voice sharp and rising. Not soft anymore. Not quiet. Not human. Jake opened his eyes slowly. He saw Vera standing over him. Her skin glowed bright, brighter than ever before. Her hair moved as if caught in wind, though the air was still. And her hands pulsed with deadly light. The man who shot Jake stepped back, his weapon shaking in his hands. "He's bleeding," one of the humans said. "Because of you," Vera growled. "I warned you." Jake reached for her. Don't kill them." She looked down at him. Her eyes were glowing silver white. Her jaw was clenched. She was shaking. "They tried to execute you like an animal," she said. "I've been shot before," Jake mumbled. What's new? Vera let out a breath. Her light dimmed a little, but not much. The man with the gun spoke again. You brought her here. You led them to us. I didn't lead anyone. Jake groaned. They were already coming. Another human, a woman, stepped forward. Her face was tired but kinder. Then who is she? The woman asked Vera. What do you want from us? Vera stepped back, kneeling beside Jake. She placed her glowing hand over his wound. He gasped but didn't pull away. I didn't come to hurt you, Vera said, voice low. I came to break the cycle. Jake felt warmth spread through his body. Not painful. Strange. Like something inside him was waking up. Is she healing him? One man whispered. No. She's infecting him, another muttered. No, Vera snapped. I'm saving his life. Something your kind failed to do. The room went quiet. Jake sat up, coughing. The bleeding had slowed. The pain faded. Okay, he said. Now can we all stop trying to kill each other for 1 minute? The human stared at him, unsure. Jake turned to them. She's not your enemy. Not today. But if we waste time fighting each other, we're all dead. The older man finally lowered his weapon. Vera stood, helping Jake to his feet. How many of you are there? She asked. 17, the woman replied. Most are sick. Some are starving. We've been hiding down here for months. Jake nodded. Then we get them out. The man laughed bitterly. How? Those tunnels are crawling with alien soldiers. Jake looked at Vera. She didn't smile. She just said, Then we don't use the tunnels. 12 hours later, the group moved through the ruined city's upper levels. The path was narrow and dangerous, sharp drops, collapsing stone, but it was above the scanners, off the maps. Vera led the way, silent and focused. Jake walked behind her, wrapped in a thermal cloak. His wound was healing unnaturally fast. He watched her as she moved, fast, efficient, alert. He couldn't read her expression anymore. Not since the shooting. They stopped near an opening in the wall. Outside, snow swirled. Red lights blinked in the sky. Alien drones searching. One of the men whispered, We'll never make it to the ridge. Vera knelt and pressed her fingers into the floor. A pattern glowed beneath her hand. The stone cracked open. A platform rose. Inside was a long, sleek object, half ship, half machine. Jake stepped forward. What is it? A glider, Vera said. Silent, low energy, no heat trail. It was built for escape. Built by who? He asked. Vera didn't answer. She turned to the group. I can fly 4 at a time. It will take 2 trips. Jake nodded. Do it. She looked at him. No, she said. You come with me first. He frowned. Why? Because I can't risk you staying here. There was something in her tone, not fear, not control, something deeper. Jake hesitated. Then the older man spoke. No, he stays here with us. If this is a trick, we're not losing both hope and leadership in one flight. Jake turned to Vera. I'll go last. Her jaw tightened, but she nodded. The first group boarded the glider. Vera paused, looking at Jake. If I don't come back, you will, he said. You're too stubborn to die. She didn't smile. She flew off silently into the blizzard. 2 hours later she returned, alone, bleeding. The glider was damaged. They attacked mid-flight, she said. They found the others. Jake rushed to her side. Did they make it? I dropped them early. They're hiding. But I lost control. She collapsed into his arms. The others pulled her inside. She's not going back out, someone said. Jake stood, face hard. Then I will. You don't even know how to fly it, the older man yelled. Then I'll learn fast, Jake said. Vera opened her eyes weakly. No, she whispered. You'll die. Jake leaned down. Then tell me how not. She looked at him, eyes full of pain. I didn't save you. just to watch you burn." Jake touched her face gently. "Then trust me, like I trusted you." A long silence. Then she reached into her suit and pulled out a small chip. "Plug it into the glider. It will fly itself." Jake smiled. "You could have led with that." "I like drama," she whispered faintly. Jake turned to the others. "I'm bringing them back, and when I do, we're leaving this planet." "Where will we go?" someone asked. Jake looked out at the storm. "Someplace that isn't hell, but deep below." In the cold, dark tunnel, something moved. Not human, not alien. Something older. Watching. Waiting. Hungry. The real reason. The storm raged outside. The wind screamed against the stone ruins, but the cold inside was different now. It was deeper. Older. Vera lay unconscious in the corner of the shelter, her body wrapped in thermal sheets. Her skin no longer glowed. The energy inside her had faded, like a dying fire. Jake sat beside her, watching her chest rise and fall. Every breath seemed harder than the last. "She's not going to make it, is she?" the woman survivor asked. Jake didn't answer. His mind was too full, with guilt, with fear, with questions. He stood and walked to the glider. The small chip Vera had given him sat on the console. He held it in his hand, turning it over slowly. Then he saw something. A small engraving on the side, a symbol, his unit insignia. Jake froze. How? He pressed the chip into the glider's console. A soft beep. A message flashed onto the screen. Classified, Vera Or3, initiation record, origin, project. Seraph. Jake stared, then the screen flickered and began playing a file, a video log, Weeker 2197. Location, Earth Science Division, Black Site 7. A man in a lab coat stood on screen. Behind him, a tall glass tank held a figure inside. Blue skin, glowing eyes, floating peacefully. The man spoke. Subject 03 has adapted faster than expected. We used human genetic markers this time. Results are promising. She's developing empathy, language, memory retention, dreams. Jake's heart pounded. We call her Vera. She's not just alien. She's part of us now, maybe the only bridge between our two worlds. The video glitched. But command has changed. It's mind. They want her deployed, not studied. Trained as a field operative, they say peace is impossible now. The war has begun. The screen went black. Jake stepped back, breathless. He looked at Vera. "She's part human?" he whispered. The woman beside him looked confused. "What?" Jake didn't respond. His mind was racing. Everything made sense now. Her understanding of humans, her voice, her emotions, her choices. She wasn't just an alien gone rogue. She was a weapon built to end a war, or to start one. That night, the survivors rested. Some slept. Others stood watch. Jake sat beside Vera, holding a heating crystal. To her hand, she woke slowly. Her voice was dry. "Weak." "You saw it," she whispered. Jake nodded. "Project Seraph. You're not just them. You're part of us too." Vera looked away. "They lied to me. I thought I was born on the other side." "They used you," Jake said. "Just like they used us." Tears welled in her eyes but didn't fall. Jake asked, "Why didn't you tell me? Would you have trusted me?" Jake didn't answer. After a long silence, she said, "I wasn't supposed to feel this much. You weren't supposed to matter. But every second I spent with you, something changed." He touched her hand. "I believe you." For a moment there was peace. Then the ground shook. Everyone froze. A low, deep sound echoed through the walls, like metal groaning, like something alive under stone. "What was that?" someone whispered. Vera stood slowly. Her glow had returned. Just a little. "That," she said, is what they buried here before the war. Jake frowned. What do you mean? She looked at him. This planet wasn't just a battleground. It was a vault. Another quake. Dust rained from the ceiling. Vault for what? Vera's voice dropped. For something no species wanted to face. They ran out into the hall. The walls were cracking. The floor beneath them pulsed with a strange heat. Then they saw it. At the end of the corridor, a sealed door had opened. Light poured from inside, dark red, flickering like fire. Something stood in the doorway. It was tall, too tall. Its shape was humanoid but wrong. Arms too long, chest glowing with shifting energy, face hidden behind a mask made of bone and machine. Yellow. Didn't move, but it breathed. Loud, wet, mechanical. Jake raised his weapon. Vera stopped him. You can't shoot it. What is it? She stepped forward. It's a precursor. Jake froze. The race before both our kinds, she said. They built the first worlds, and when they saw what we became, they sealed themselves away. Why? Because they believed we were contagious. That war is a disease. Jake whispered. Why is it awake now? Vera turned to him. Because I used the glider's energy to survive. I pulled power from the vault. A second quake. The creature stepped into the hall and spoke. Not with sound, but into their minds. You are not ready. Jake grabbed Vera's hand. We need to leave. Now. She nodded but didn't move. Jake looked at her. You're not coming, are you? She shook her head slowly. I activated the vault. I have to shut it again, from inside. No, Jake said. There has to be another way. There isn't. You know that. He pulled her closer. Then I'll stay too. You won't, she said, and placed her hand on his chest. A surge of energy hit him. He gasped and vanished. Jake woke up. Alone outside the ruins, in the snow. The survivors stood around him, confused, scared. The glider was there, powered up, but Vera was gone. Jake looked toward the dark mountain behind them and whispered, Don't you dare die in there. The escape, or the end? The wind screamed over the cliffs. Snow blew across the ancient ruins, hiding the scars of war, of betrayal, and of something older than either species. Jake stood at the edge of the world, staring into the dark. His breath came out in clouds. His side ached. But he didn't feel the cold. Not after what Vera did. She was still inside that mountain. Alone. Facing something that shouldn't even exist. The survivors stood behind him waiting. Silent. Tired. Alive. But Jake wasn't ready to leave. He clenched his fists. We can't just go. The older man stepped forward. We don't have a choice. If she sealed the vault, we're safe for now. If she didn't, Jake turned sharply. Then we die with her. She made her choice. Jake looked up at the sky. The storm was thinning. The stars were returning. He whispered, So will I. Inside the mountain, Vera moved through darkness. Her body was failing. The energy she gave Jake had drained her. Her light was weak now, flickering like a candle in wind, but she kept walking, step after step. Behind her, the walls pulsed like veins. The vault was alive, a machine and a tomb. And ahead, the precursor. It stood still, waiting. Its eyes, if they were eyes, burned with ancient light. You should not be, it said in her mind. She stood tall. And yet I am. You carry war inside you. I carry hope, she said. That's the part of me that's human. The precursor tilted its head. Hope is a lie you tell yourselves before destruction. Then why wake up, she asked. Why show yourself now? The being stepped closer. Its voice was wind and thunder. Because you broke the seal, you brought the light again. I was trying to save someone. The precursor's glow pulsed. And so you doomed many. Outside, Jake climbed the rocky ridge, slipping, panting, bleeding again. Every step was harder. The others watched from a distance, helpless. He reached the top and saw it, the vault gate, glowing with pulses of light, fading fast. He limped toward it. Suddenly, a sound split the sky. A low hum. Not like any ship he'd ever heard. He turned. A precursor artifact, shaped like a spiked halo, was rising from the mountain itself, floating, scanning. Jake dropped to the snow and stared. It spoke in a voice deeper than space. Judgment, activated. Outcome, unstable. Back inside, Vera stood before the precursor's heart, a pulsing orb of red light suspended in gravity. She knew what it was, the core of the vault, the brain, the lock. It had already begun counting down. The precursor stepped behind her. "You cannot hold it shut." "I won't need to," she said. "I can collapse the entrance, bury the gate, trap it again. You will die." She looked back. Maybe I was never meant to live this long. She placed her hand on the core. Her skin began to glow. Her bones ached. Her blood burned. But the countdown slowed. Jake reaches the gate. The snow lifted in circles. The air vibrated. The vault door began to close on its own. "No," he shouted. He ran faster. He reached it. Just as the stone edges began sealing, he slid under them just in time. Darkness swallowed him. Inside the heart, Vera screamed. The core resisted her. It pulled at her energy, at her thoughts, at her past. Visions flooded her of Earth, of labs, of memories that weren't hers. And then Jake appeared, broken, bleeding, breathing hard. She stared at him. "What are you doing here?" He limped toward her. "You're not doing this alone." "Idiot," she said, voice shaking. "You always do this." "Habit," he said. "Blame Earth." They reached the core together. It began to crackle. The walls shook. The precursor appeared. "You will destroy us all." Jake raised his head. "Only if you make us." He looked at Vera. She nodded. Together, they placed their hands on the core. Human and hybrid. Blood and light. Memory and hope. What happened next? A sound unlike anything. Metal breaking, stars screaming, a pulse of pure silence. A wave of white. Light burst through the mountain. The vault collapsed. The storm stopped, and the precursor was gone. 1 week later, the survivors waited by the glider, engines warm. Jake walked out of the mountain, alone. His body was scarred, his eyes tired. The woman ran to him. "Where's Vera?" He didn't speak. He just opened his hand. In it, a small glowing crystal, blue and gold, still warm. "She saved us," he said. He looked at the stars. She became the lock. Final, seen as the glider left the frozen planet behind, drifting into space. Jake sat by the window. He held the crystal close. And somewhere, deep in the stars, a signal blinked, soft, rhythmic, like a heartbeat.